Okay. Well, this is not the survival showcase series anymore. That is finished, as you well know. This is a bonus episode that describes, or well, we go in depth uh, about our creative, or I guess it's my creative test world. This world has been with me as long as the main survival slash creative one, 8 years in total. Let's change perspective here. So I've wanted to do one of those redstone test worlds, and back at the time, using flat worlds was the best option. There are no structures here. This is essentially a blank canvas. But as you can see, I placed this border of trees just to give it a bit more soul. And here we can witness some of the designs that I had for the first structures that I built. This is a stream design for the that giant cylinder in the sky mob farm, where I kind of was kind of figuring out how I could do those streams when using water canals that were not as identical as they were in the reference design by Ethos Lab. And from there, I branched out. I did the Etho Hopper Clock, uh, which is basically a timing circuit. So I wanted to have like a cache of these redstone contraptions. I could follow tutorials, build them in this creative world, and when I needed to, and when I was offline or not connected to the internet, couldn't access YouTube, I could go into this creative test world, find the design of the circuit that I need, and then, painstakingly copy paste it into the survival world. Here's that pumpkin melon farm. This is an older design when this farm first came out. Some things were not yet available in older versions of Minecraft, so the very smart people from SciCraft who designed this farm, they came up with different kinds of solutions. And there are some builds here, like this, kind of like a hallway thing. This is actually from a dream I had, I think 3 or 4 years ago. I actually dreamt about Minecraft. That's how engrossed I was into this game. It was bleeding into the reality of my dreams. And when I woke up, I was like, yeah, I gotta build that in Minecraft, but it just doesn't look as good as it did in my dream. In my dream, these blanks were kind of like, if you've ever used ray tracing in Minecraft on those really powerful gaming rigs, then you know what I'm talking about. Like there was a lot of shadow here, lots of reflective surfaces, and I just don't have the hardware to kind of recreate that visual experience. But I just built this kind of a template, and maybe I'll use it somewhere down the line. Uh, this is my first piston door, which I built using a tutorial, of course. One of the things I did when I first started doing redstone, before I kind of understood what it was okay, if I want to understand this complex system, let's first build some simple components, and then if we understand those simple components, then we can work on solving the larger issue at hand, which is basically just understanding any subject matter. And that's like the same way I've approached studying in university. You just start with the building blocks, no pun intended, and then you branch out from that, and you cause and effect. If I step on this, it activates circuitry. How does that happen? When does it happen? Why it happens? And if you can answer those questions using these really simple examples, then you can, solve some larger problems, and make your own contraptions. When you understand it, it's easy to use it, and there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. So let's see what I could show you here when it comes to builds that were, solely mine, originally mine. This, for example, is the shifting floor. You place a minecart here. Let me see if I can minecart, if I can sort of demonstrate that. So you place a Minecraft here and you give it some coal, and then the detector rails detect that there's an entity passing over them, and that outputs a redstone signal, which in turn powers the piston. And I use this for a shifting floor design for my kelp farm, which is not exactly efficient, but it's kind of fun. But this wasn't my idea per se. It was more like I saw this in a video, maybe by DocM77, another Hermitcraft YouTuber. As you can see, I mention these people from Hermitcraft a lot because they were a source of massive inspiration for me. Um, so, a lot of their input kind of lives on in some of the things that I've built in my worlds. And let's see, this is kind of like the starting point of the world that I did. When I first built that large mob cylinder in the sky, I thought of building some kind of a winding staircase to it. And as you can see, there are some crude designs here. I was trying things out. I was trying to do some kind of a circular design, but I was really not adept at building curved structures because I was really a beginner player. And I really did try at one point to build this in the survival world, but it just didn't look that well. But it stands here as a reminder, you know, don't give up. Try something else, something new. You never know what's gonna happen. Here we have some kind of a basic cactus farm design. Then this thing is a recreation of the pillager outpost tower that was introduced in the 1.14 update Pillage and Village, or Village and Pillage. And I liked it so much that I recreated it using prismarine and acacia because, green and orange are complementary colors. And I thought it would look neat if I tried to incorporate it into my ocean monument built over in the main world, but I never got to it because, well, the style of it doesn't really fit with what I was going there. I was going for much more of a majestic and simplistic look. And here's another kind of like a continuation of that mob farm streams here. I think I was maybe trying to make it a bit better, or I don't know, some kind of an optimization was taking place, but I can't really remember it at this point. Here we have the notorious Special S, or the Super S. It's if you ever went to primary school, at one point in time, everyone drew this symbol on their hands on their like the school benches and everything. It was like the most popular kind of like primitive graffiti for kids. Everyone felt special doing this, but it was like huh, could I create this in Minecraft? It's a creative test world. You can do whatever the hell you want. So that's exactly what I did. And here we have a lot more of these uh, kind of like a basic Minecraft circuitry that I copied over from tutorials. just so I have some reference points. And then in the summer of 2019, about the time after I acquired my master's, I was unemployed and I was kind of bored. And which is kind of funny because it's been exactly 6 years since that moment, and I'm on vacation, but I didn't really go anywhere. And I'm really bored, and it's really a miracle what boredom makes you do. It makes you so inventive in how you will fill that boredom. I really do recommend for everyone watching this currently that, sometimes just leave the phone and, leave your connection to the internet on the sidelines and just, be bored, just experience boredom. I know it that our brains they're hungry for boredom because they've been overstimulated for all these years with social media and notification messages, that famous red notification icon telling us, "Ooh, you gotta look at this. Something is happening." But when you reintroduce boredom, your brain and your mind are so thankful for it. They will do anything for you. And with me, it results in a burst of creativity. So I built this. This is my own design, my own redstone, which I'm very proud of. Uh, it's kind of like a hidden entrance. So this block is at let's simulate the ground here. This is the ground. Okay. So let's say for instance, I made some kind of these kind of like guidelines. So if we press this button, the block, it goes down and then it goes, to the side, and you can enter your hidden base. And if you press it again, it goes back up. And I was, well, like, wow. And there it's a series of redstone. It goes into steps, First, let's see if I can do that again. Kablam. So first this piston pulls the block down, and this piston takes like it borrows this block from this sticky piston and moves it to the side, and then, to completely free up this path, this piston grabs the first piston and moves that out the way, and you have a free way down there. And I was really proud. This is a fruit of boredom, and it proves that boredom is not some endless void that doesn't create anything. It's actually potential. It's actually the root of all creativity, is to be uh, utterly bored, which is exactly what I am on this vacation of mine. I'm so utterly bored that I actually learned how to do some crude Photoshop in GIMP, which is an open source Photoshop software. Cause you don't know what to do, and let's try something. Um, this wall has something interested in it, but it's not for the eyes of the feeble, if I do say so myself. And we have two builds here that I want to go a bit in depth with. So this first one kind of looks like some kind of a compound or like a complex or something, but actually this is the apartment I grew up in during my secondary school. My family was extremely poor when I was growing up, and we frequently moved places. So this is one of the apartments I lived in. So you first enter here. There's this a really cheap ceramic tiles. We first go to the bathroom. Now, at a time, the half of the ceiling of the bathroom was missing. It collapsed one morning about a couple of hours after I took a shower. which that could have ended in a disaster, but thankfully it didn't. This is the washing machine. This is the boiler, the heater element, and we have some random pieces of wood here. That's because in these really old buildings from the 1960s, the way they did cupboards, they attached them to walls, but they couldn't drill into the wall because walls were really cheaply made and were really low quality. So they inserted these wooden wedges into the walls, and then you'd stick a nail into it, and then you'd hang your cupboard on top of that nail. So that's pretty cool. This is exposed wiring because every house I lived in when as a kid had exposed wiring, which is very dangerous as well. This is the sink. This doesn't do anything. It's just a design element. Here we have the this is like a siphon where excess water can go into. This is the toilet. You know, this block is kind of perfect for a toilet. Not gonna lie. You flush here, right? And we have one of those cleaning brushes when it gets really spicy. So if we exit the bathroom, we go to the main hallway. This is some kind of a cupboard mirror type thing. If we go to the right, this is the kitchen. Here's another sink. Here's the like the main preparation board where you cut the meat or slice your vegetables, and some cupboards here. This is one like a furnace shaft chimney type input thing, and of course the furnace itself, a stove with some goodies on it. When I grew up, there weren't as many meats on this stove, I gotta tell you that. This is an oversized uh, dining table we've had for the longest time. A really large window, which was also a very bad window in terms of its build quality. It was always so cold. When I got my current job and saved some money, I bought all new windows for my parents so that my mother wouldn't have to freeze, and I wouldn't have to freeze when I got there. And there's just some kind of a cubby hole here where we keep our like pots and pans and whatnot. Let's see if I go here. These are some of my mother's plants. And if we were to go into the kind of like the living room area, although it's more like a sleeping room, uh, this is my mom's painting table because my mom is a painter. The technique, for those of you versed in it, is oil on canvas. So I grew up with a lot of Van Gogh, Picasso replicas around me, and of course my mom's original paintings. This is kind of like a mishmash of a bed. There was actually like an old couch that had a mattress on top of it to make it more bearable to sleep on. And there's actually a door here in this wall. Like this entire apartment has this really weird design about it. It's just the kind of like a consequence of too many people with too many creative ideas of what an apartment should look like going through it. So that's why it kind of looks very out of order and chaotic. My favorite room might be at this cubbyhole mini library. This actually is filled with books to the brim, and the color of this floor is very similar to what it is in reality. I really like how this turned out. It makes me feel, comfortable. It's kind of secluded. This is the fridge. At that point in time, the fridge was here. These days, the fridge is somewhere over there. And if we go here, we go into well, this was my room at one point, and then when I went to university and turned into a storage room, and these days it's also kind of like a painting slash storage room. This is the bed, also one of those couch turned to bed situations. Cupboard with some, this is some kind of lamp maybe, and I don't know, a cup, some electric input sockets. Half of them are faulty. I would not stick anything into them. This is the uh, ironing pad and the, I guess you could call this an ironing machine or whatever. I don't know. This is the oh man, these expressions are getting out of hand. The closet, really big, really massive, old-time design. A lot of these, like pieces of furniture we had were donations, and donations tend to be, well, really old pieces of furniture. But, they have something new furniture doesn't. It's quality and, it's a soul, much like the items that I name in Minecraft. Like, I give my swords and my pickaxes different names and different enchantments just to give them a bit more flair, a bit more character. This is the chair and the table where I usually placed my old laptop, some shelves with some more pots, some kind of a plant, I think, or a tree branch. It's a bit difficult to remember at this point. And of course, the floor, uh, brown ceramic tiles. Why were they brown? Well, they were the cheapest at that point, and if it's cheap, we take it. So that's the apartment. It's not as bad as maybe I make it to be. It's actually the best housing situation I've lived in growing up, and I kind of wanted to make a dedicated spot for it in this test world before I started, phasing between creative and survival in my main world. And besides, this type of design would not really fit well into that world. And the last thing we can visit here is another housing situation, of course. This one is vastly more pleasant because I grew up in all these kinds of old ruined houses. When I first got to university, I had access to student dormitories, which are really well put and had a major renovation rehaul. I think it was back in 2015, 2016. So after I got back to the student dormitory after that rehaul, I had access to really nice, affordable housing. It was really pleasant. So let's find an entrance here if I can and not to spoil anything. Oh, this is like the fire escape. Let's enter here. So there are many rooms here, 101, 102, 103. And this is the one where I lived with a roommate of mine who I hope is watching this. I recently linked this whole series to him, and he might remember the room 121 in Pavilion 4 in Zagreb, Croatia. This has to be the favorite room and the favorite housing object that I've ever lived in, and I had some truly great times in here. And when I built all this, I was like, let's build something nice to remember all this. So we have some electrical switches here, and on the left we have now I'm not sure if this is something he placed on the kind of like the glass above the bathroom door, but it kind of blocks light, which when you're trying to sleep, you're trying to sleep in is a room that's as dark as possible, so this really helped. And if we go in here, we have a sink with a mirror here and some nice, this is like uh, not a tub, more like a place to wash yourself. a shower cabin. Kind of had to fire up those old neurons to get to that expression. And as you can see, there's this faint breeze here that is evocative of a place that is well ventilated. This is the toilet and the cleaning brush and the heating element. And there was a time when the uh, the container that houses water that flushes down the toilet, it was malfunctioning. So my roommate took the shower head and kind of stretched it all the way to the flushing container, and that's how we filled it for a while until the handyman came in and replaced the whole apparatus. Here we have some cupboards for storing clothes. Half is his, half is mine. The fridge, of course, because after the rehaul, every room had its own fridge, which was it's quite an experience, you know. And here are the beds, the by far the most comfortable beds I've ever slept in. And they were green on the outside. The mattress was white, but they were green. And like the only green bed in Minecraft is this one. Some shelves here. I put some pants here, and this is maybe like a bottle. Uh, College students like to drink. I wasn't really one of them, but let's imagine I was. This is I think this is the same water heater that I still have to make my tea. Some books, a lamp, because every desk had a dormitory issued lamp, my old laptop, or like I like to refer to it as my crap top, given how bad its specs were, my training mat, and here's his desk. He had an external monitor for his laptop and like a laptop stand, which I thought was pretty cool. He had a lot of books, and he had like this panel with all these kinds of postcards and neat items, and some more bottles to indicate that students are living in here. The heating element, and there was a spider, I think, in our last year of university who took residence up there, and we kind of left him there for somebody else to take care of him because he was really big, and we weren't really fond of messing with him. And that's it. That's the dormitory room. It's always so pleasant to walk in here, you know, even though I'm never gonna live there anymore, it's still nice that I built something like this. What a pleasant memory, you know? And that's it, you know? This is what it's all about, you know? Pleasant memories. And yeah, sure, not all of them are always pleasant, but you know, you gotta keep those nice nice memories, you know, you gotta keep them in an elevated position, and of course, be aware of the bad things that happen to you because they're great lessons for the future. But don't dwell on them too much, you know, just keep on moving along. And that's it. That is the end of this showcase for the creative test world. Uh, I'm glad for all the I don't know, it's like maybe 100 views on all the episodes I made, or maybe not even that, but it means the world to me because it means, like, even if it's just 3 views or 2 views, you gotta imagine that that's two people, two people with their own separate identities, jobs, lives, who decided to take the time of their day to watch my ramblings here and some of them commented, yes, but even if they just watch, like, that is a lot of effort. And when I see something like 24 views or 37 views, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people. Like my secondary school class had 30 people. That is a lot of individual human beings. So I gotta thank you all for that. That's that's a lot of positive attention if I do say so myself. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I wish you all a nice, pleasant rest of the day and rest of the summer, and I'll see you all the next time, maybe.